So you're looking for the best budget 4K monitor. In this video we're gonna take a look at ASUS latest 4K monitor with the rapid fast 1 millisecond response time, and AMD FreeSync makes it perfect for PC as well as console gaming. Under $300. Is it any good though? Let's have a look at it. Let's get started. Hey, how is it going, guys? Robin here on Chef's Entertainment, bringing you the best tips and tools for gaming on this channel. You'll find PC components, tech gadgets and console accessories, as well as product reviews and unboxings such as this one. So if you're interested in that, consider subscribing and don't forget to hit the notification bell so that you don't miss out on any uploads on my end. In this video we're checking out a 4K monitor, more specifically the VP28UQG. And with that said, let's dig into the video. So let's start by touching on the panel. It is a 28-inch 60Hz 4K TN panel that surprisingly outperforms my older ASUS VP28UQG in almost every category, all of which we will touch on in a minute. Anyway, the VP28UQG is still to this date one of the most popular high refresh rate TN 1080p monitors on the market, even though it was released back in 2012. Now, what makes the older ASUS monitor so popular is first and foremost its higher refresh rate of 144Hz, which is a huge step in the right direction if you're playing a lot of fast-paced games such as CSGO, Battlefield, Overwatch, Fortnite, etc. Now, here's what the newer 4K monitor beats the older 1080p one. Viewing angles, colors in terms of color richness and punchiness, black levels, bleeding and ghosting. Also, there's no clouding on this screen either. Considering what it costs and only evaluating the panel alone, buying it in my opinion is a no-brainer. Alright, so here's some technical shenanigans you should be aware of. TN typically means a generally faster display at a lower price point, but it comes with a few shortcomings. Viewing angles are typically worse than other panels, and the pixel structure is often, not always, but often more visible, and the colors are often more limited on these type of panels. Now, what sets me back the most is the 60Hz limit, of course. I knew that before buying and purchasing this, right? But still, coming from a 144Hz gaming experience, it is quite hard to get used to, not gonna lie here, especially in CSGO, where it hurts me the most. Now, in other games such as Tomb Raider, Doom, Forza Horizon and WoW, I honestly don't need more fluidity anyway, and running each of these games in max settings at 4K, my RTX 2080 is barely able to push 60 frames per second anyway, so it wouldn't really make so much sense to run the monitor in 144Hz or even 160Hz, because the graphics card wouldn't be able to spit out the frames if I didn't decide to compromise on the settings, of course. And you don't want to do that either, right? Now, being able to adjust brightness, colors and jumping between outputs needs to be easy, and I'm happy to say ASUS has solved this in quite a clever way. Now, instead of having several physical buttons on screen, all there is a simple joystick on the back. It works by pressing it and tilting it in various directions. It is simple and easy to use. Now, there are a total of 5 different preset modes. I found sRGB to be the most accurate in terms of showing the most accurate black levels and white levels, but you might have to adjust it a little to find it satisfying. So to try and summarize the screen, for general fast-paced gaming, you will feel the difference if you're already sitting on a faster refresh rate monitor. Now, for other types of games, it is a dream to game on. Jumping up from 1080p to 4K is quite breathtaking, I gotta say. You have to experience the difference to really appreciate it, and as much as I try to capture it on screen, the video won't simply do justice here. Something to be aware of, however, there's no HDR or built-in speakers on this screen, which is of course a bummer. But let's dive a little deeper here and let's talk about the FreeSync What FreeSync does is that the monitor basically adjusts and matches the refresh rate to the frame rate, and yeah, this monitor can do this. There is a but however, it only works on AMD graphics cards. Luckily, since the Xbox One has a built-in GPU from AMD, it works like a charm on the new Xbox One X, and I've spent quite a lot of time testing it as well. It works incredibly well, and this is very important, guys. Gaming at 4K resolution, you definitely want to do that with either FreeSync or locking your frame rate using VSync. Again, you do not want to game without a locked frame rate because it's so many pixels at 4K resolution, and the screens typically becomes bigger when moving up to 4K. Screen tearing will become such a pain in the ass that you don't want to be a part of it. Trust me, guys, I was shocked when I first jumped into Tomb Raider without locked frame rate, and the tearing was just so significant. It completely ruined the gaming experience, so the fact that you get AMD FreeSync is a huge bonus. Surely G-Sync would have been awesome too, but hey, at this price, I wouldn't expect adaptive FreeSync at all. Now with that said, let's move on to the stand. It's a pretty basic story. The monitor is resting on an arm that you simply mount to a platform that comes detached. All there is a single screw, and afterwards you're good to go. Once installed, the whole stand feels pretty sturdy considering it's a 28-inch monitor. Now, unfortunately, this one is the type of the stand you usually get when buying a more entry-level monitor. You cannot pivot or adjust the height of the screen whatsoever. All there is the tilt option, which is a bummer. Now, being able to adjust height is something I value personally, but you have to consider the price as well. It is under $300 afterwards for a 4K monitor, 28-inch and 1 millisecond monitor. It is acceptable after all. It's not that big of an issue in my case anyway, since the viewing angles are pretty good for being a TN panel. Now to sum it all up, guys, we got minimal bleed. In fact, there's almost no bleed on this monitor whatsoever. There's no clouding. The viewing angles are very good. It outperforms my ASUS VP28UQG 144 monitor. Now the Game Plus features we haven't even touched on really are cool, but not something I was really using. You can read more about that in the information down below. Now if you're sitting on an AMD graphics card, FreeSync works like a dream. Now since I'm running with NVIDIA, I couldn't test this too much on PC, but for the Xbox One X, it worked fantastically. Now during the moments when things got intense and the Xbox wasn't able to handle a steady stream of 60 frames per second, the monitor was able to sync the refresh rate to meet the frame rate with no screen tearing. Very nice. VSync and FreeSync is a must in 4K, I'd say. The screen tearing is incredibly annoying. Now I never actually thought that this was gonna be so much of an issue, to be honest, so that's definitely good to know. Now the colors for being a TN panel are quite vivid, and the contrast and white levels feels punchy for being, again, a TN panel. I'm happy to say that it actually outperforms my older IPS monitor I bought a couple of years ago. For being a TN panel, it is definitely far from the worst I've ever seen. In fact, it's really one of the top ones I've had the honor to try, really. During my testing phase, I've been playing a lot of fast-paced first-person shooters, as well as other type of games as well. I never experienced any lag or sort of tracing from the monitor. It feels super fast. For being sold as a gaming monitor, it definitely performs that way also. Now overall, I'm happy to recommend this monitor to any gamer that is looking to take the big leap over to 4K, but still maybe want to be able to buy a new graphics card in the process without burning a hole in your wallet too much. Now there is not a whole lot missing here for general gaming on PC and console. You're gonna be more than happy with this monitor, guys. Now in the previous video, I highly recommend you guys to watch that. By the way, I was talking about pixel mapping, and if you don't know what that really means, I suggest you guys to go back and watch. For this monitor, how does 1080p look? Well, there is some sort of blurriness going on. It's not 100% perfect. It's not scaling 100%. There is definitely an algorithm going on here. I was a little bit sad when I noticed that, but in 4K everything is obviously super crisp. Also something you guys need to know as well, 4K is 4 times 1080p basically, so in order to really see the pixels you need to be sitting really close to the monitor, so be aware of that. This is however a 28-inch monitor, but still 4 times higher resolution than 1080p, so things will get quite small. Much of this can be fixed in Windows 10, for example. You can use something called scaling to scale things and makes it bigger, and you still take advantage of the higher resolution, but something you need to be aware of. Also, before we conclude this video, I just want to touch on the different panels available on the market right now to give you guys some sort of idea what's really out there. We got TN, of course, I've talked plenty of that in this video. We also got IPS, which is also known as PLS or AHVA. It has a couple of different names due to patent. These panels often has a better viewing angle and color richness to them, but to the sacrifice of a more visible bleeding and glow effect. Lastly, we also got VA, which typically has a higher contrast but often slower than IPS and TN, which means there's a greater risk of getting noticeable lag. All in all, VA is right between the IPS and the TN when it comes to color richness, viewing angles, etc. And as with the IPS, because of patent, VA has a wide range of different namings as well, such as MVA, AMVA, PVA, SPVA. Now, I want to know in the comments below, guys, have you taken the step over to 4K yet? I want to know in the comments below. And how much are you willing to spend on a 4K monitor? Thank you so much for watching this video. Until next time, guys, have an awesome day, alright? Bye.